Sir Keir Starmer's insistence that he will robustly protect our interests as rumors intensify over a potential China trip has become one of the most closely watched moments in UK foreign policy. His choice of words reflects a complicated balancing act at a time when national security concerns, diplomatic pressures, economic necessities, and geopolitical rivalries have intertwined more tightly than ever. As talk grows of a possible visit to Beijing early next year, political analysts argue that Starmer is stepping into one of the most delicate phases of UK-China relations in years, one that demands both caution and confidence. For weeks, government insiders have suggested that discussions about a China trip have been ongoing, even though Downing Street continues to deny that dates have been set. Yet the rumors persist, fueled in part by the heated debate around China's proposed mega-embassy in London. Security agencies, senior MPs, and foreign policy experts have been divided on the question, with some insisting that the UK cannot afford to alienate Beijing and others warning that any miscalculation could expose the country to unprecedented intelligence risks. The Prime Minister, fully aware of the scrutiny, has repeated that under his leadership the UK will neither be bullied nor blindsided, an assurance meant to counter the criticism that Britain has been too soft or too inconsistent in previous dealings with China. In recent days, new details have emerged suggesting that MI5 and MI6 have signed off on the embassy project, but only after lengthy internal debates on how to mitigate its potential risks. Government officials have been weighing options such as enhanced surveillance measures, restricted access zones around critical infrastructure, and tighter oversight on diplomatic activities. Critics, however, say these safeguards may not be enough. They argue that allowing a powerful Chinese diplomatic hub to operate in such a strategic location could create vulnerabilities that no level of monitoring can fully eliminate. Some MPs have pointed out that China has frequently been accused of blending state, military, and intelligence operations, meaning that even routine embassy functions could create an opening for broader influence campaigns. Starmer, in response to these criticisms, has been walking a careful line. He has spoken firmly about the necessity of defending national interests, but he has also stressed the need for open channels of communication with major global players. He believes China's economic and geopolitical significance cannot be ignored, and he has repeatedly said that engagement, when done from a position of strength and skepticism, can help ensure stability. This dual approach, pragmatic cooperation alongside firm security safeguards, has become the defining feature of his foreign policy messaging. The rumors surrounding the China trip have also reignited old debates within Parliament. Some conservatives accuse Starmer of downplaying the threat posed by China, arguing that his approach leans too heavily toward engagement. Hardliners, including longtime China hawks, say that the UK should not be entertaining the idea of high-level diplomatic visits until the unresolved issues of Hong Kong, Xinjiang, cyber espionage, and political interference are fully addressed. Meanwhile, members of Starmer's own party have voiced unease, not because they oppose engagement, but because they fear that appearing too eager to re-establish relations could be interpreted as weakness. Despite these pressures, Starmer has continued communicating his broader vision that the UK must adopt a long-term China strategy instead of acting reactively. In his view, diplomacy should not be conducted on the basis of fear or hesitation, nor should it be guided purely by economic self-interest. His government sees China as a systemic competitor, but also a necessary partner on issues such as climate change, technological cooperation, and global stability. Advisors close to Starmer say his position is deliberately nuanced, designed to avoid the extremes of confrontation or capitulation. Last year's G20 meeting in Brazil demonstrated this approach. His meeting with President Xi Jinping was described as direct but measured, with Starmer raising human rights concerns while simultaneously emphasizing the need for cooperation. The encounter received mixed reactions in the UK. Some praised Starmer for addressing difficult topics head-on, while others questioned whether the discussion went far enough in challenging China's domestic and international behavior. Nevertheless, the meeting signaled Starmer's broader belief that dialogue remains a vital diplomatic tool, even when used with rivals. Recent intelligence warnings have widened the public debate. MI5 has disclosed growing attempts by Chinese operatives to infiltrate British institutions using recruitment networks and social platforms. The agency has increased briefings to MPs, warning that China is employing more subtle, long-term tactics to cultivate potential informants. Starmer has taken these warnings seriously, making national security one of his core talking points as the China debate continues. He has vowed that the UK will challenge where we must, insisting that democratic values and national sovereignty cannot be compromised for diplomatic convenience. Although the government has attempted to reassure the public, many voters remain uncertain about the direction of UK-China relations. Surveys show a large portion of the British population views China as a security threat, especially in terms of cyberattacks, foreign interference, and supply chain vulnerabilities. Yet at the same time, the public also understands the importance of maintaining economic ties, especially after years of post-Brexit fluctuation. China remains a major market for UK exports and a potential partner in emerging technologies, making complete disengagement neither practical nor beneficial. Business groups have been lobbying the government to maintain stability in the relationship, arguing that political tensions could discourage investment and shut down future opportunities. Tech companies, financial institutions, and energy firms have all warned that unpredictability in foreign policy can drive away long-term collaboration. For Starmer, this adds yet another layer to the complex equation, balancing national security with economic competitiveness in a world where global interdependence cannot simply be undone by political declarations. On the international stage, the UK's stance on China is being closely watched by allies. The United States, while taking a more confrontational tone, still maintains significant economic ties with China. European nations are divided, with some pushing for greater strategic autonomy and others urging stronger alignment with Washington. Starmer's government has been trying to position the UK as both a reliable ally and an independent actor capable of making pragmatic decisions. How the China issue is handled will likely shape the UK's diplomatic identity for years to come. If the China trip does take place, analysts believe the agenda will be dominated by security concerns, trade cooperation, human rights discussions, and climate commitments. Starmer will face domestic pressure to deliver concrete assurances that the UK's security won't be compromised, while Chinese officials will expect a constructive tone free of overt hostility. Navigating these expectations will test the Prime Minister's diplomatic skills, especially at a time when global tensions are running high. As the debate intensifies, the planned decision on the London embassy looms large. Supporters of engagement say rejecting the embassy could provoke unnecessary retaliation from Beijing, potentially affecting trade and diplomatic channels. Opponents argue the risks are simply too great, pointing to China's history of covert operations abroad. Starmer will need to make a decision that balances security, diplomacy, and public confidence, knowing that any outcome will be heavily scrutinized. At its heart, this entire moment revolves around a single question: can the UK maintain a stable and mutually beneficial relationship with China without sacrificing its national interests? Starmer seems convinced that the answer lies in a strategy of strength, clarity, and long-term thinking, one where cooperation and challenge exist in parallel, and where the UK asserts itself as a serious, confident global actor. His repeated vow to robustly protect our interests is more than a political slogan. It is a signal of intent directed at Beijing, at Westminster, and at the British public. Whether he can turn that intent into effective policy will determine not only the future of UK-China relations, but also the credibility of his leadership on the world stage. The coming months will reveal whether the Prime Minister can successfully navigate this complex and often unpredictable diplomatic landscape, or whether the pressures of global politics will force him into a more confrontational or more cautious position than he currently